trying to become the first team to successfully defend their title since the '04 Patriots. And the Rams still do have the majority of their pieces back from last season, but they only have the 5th best overall odds to win it. And there are 2 teams in the NFC with better odds to win the Super Bowl. The Bucs, who have the 2nd best odds overall behind only the Bills, who are 7-1. Bucs 8-1. Packers 11-1. And then we have the Rams at 12-1 to repeat. Let's bring in NFL writer Tyler Sullivan with reasons why each NFC contender won't win the Super Bowl this season. Let's start with the defending champion Rams. Why won't they be able to go back-to-back, Tyler?
Well, just like you said in the tease, Chris, it's hard to do. It's hard to go back-to-back Super Bowl champions because you now have a target on your back. Every game on the schedule that you have, every other team is circling, trying to measure themselves up to the Super Bowl champions, making it a gauntlet of not just a period of the season. It's an entire 18-week slog of trying to go through all of these teams. Even the worst teams in the NFL will give you your best punch on a week-in and week-out basis. And that starts to grow on a franchise and how that impacts them going forward. So really, it's just a mentality. Are they able to withstand something along those lines of just getting the best, absolute best out of every one of their opponents? It's tough to do, and it really impacts you later on in the season, especially once you get into the postseason. Another one, again, and it's more on the roster, is the uncertainty at left tackle with Joe Noteboom ascending to that blindside spot, of course, with the retirement of Andrew Whitworth. In spot starts, been totally fine, fair, able to kind of hold his own in coverage and in pass protections, but ultimately we haven't seen it over the course of a full regular season and how that impacts a guy like Matthew Stafford, who has had some injury problems in the past. If all of a sudden that blindside tackle spot becomes an issue for them, look out, because that is something that Matthew Stafford and that offense can't withstand. And speaking of that offense and the skill position players, it's really questions about regression and not necessarily that people will fall and be bad players, but is a guy like Cooper Kupp really going to be able to be a triple crown receiver yet again, leading the league in receptions, receiving yards, and receiving touchdowns? Or is he going to kind of come back to earth a little bit and not be this world beater, but still one of the best receivers in the NFL? That's something that should be expected in 2022. And then outside of the other skill positions, for me, wide receiver is another one to look at. It's on the opposite side of Cooper Kupp with Allen Robinson. You got to remember, Odell Beckham Jr. has not been re-signed yet. We don't know what the situation is going to be with him. The chemistry between Stafford and Beckham was superb. We don't know if that's going to be the case with Allen Robinson.
No, they won the Super Bowl. They went on that run without Robert Woods the second half of that season, but also likely losing OBJ. Even if they re-sign him, might miss some time because of that injury. So, I mean, how big of a step up is Allen Robinson going to have to take here to help this team with the production on the offensive end?
I mean, you just look at what happened in the Super Bowl there. Odell Beckham Jr. was on pace to potentially be the Super Bowl MVP. He was absolutely balling out, and the chemistry throughout Odell Beckham's time in LA with Matthew Stafford was unreal, how quickly they were able to kind of get on the same page there. So for Robinson, between now and the start of the regular season, it's going to be all about getting on that same page or a similar page with Matthew Stafford. You're going to have to be one of the better wide receivers in the NFL because, like you said, you're not just taking on the Odell Beckham production, but you also are taking on Robert Woods, who is now in Tennessee.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.